about the rest of us who just pretty much know we're not meant for the job? What are we supposed to do? Just suffer?
Constantly being in this state of either having to work 3 to 4 jobs and never sleep, never get time to myself, barely be able to take care of my well-being but be able to afford bills, or
I'm not giving up, but bro, I am so tired. And I think the thing is, resilience isn't always the answer. Sometimes you should just pack it up, and I think you have to know when it's time to quit.
Gen Z for you. A lot of people think they're lazy, a lot of people think they're different, a lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about them. But for me, I'm not judging Gen Z.
To everybody that's been working since they were 15, 16, y'all sick of this shit yet, or is it just me? Because I'm about tired of this shit.
Well guys, come along for the complaints, but expect different perspectives. As usual, this one is going to be a good one. See you on the other side. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Guys, my name is Andre, and as usual, if you're stopping by for the first time, please consider subscribing. And while you're at it, just go ahead and smash that like button. I would really appreciate it. Also, remember to hit that post notification bell so that you will be notified whenever I upload a new video.
I know I'm not the only one just tired as hell trying to make all of this content on TikTok, get monetized, try to change the trajectory in my family with finances, trying to break generational curses, just doing too much. Like, bruh, I am so exhausted, and plus I'm not getting enough sleep through the night because I keep trying to check my analytics. Like, am I the only one here?
Our 4-stage interview process to earn £28,000 is a mockery. And then some. 28k you want people to do 4 interviews for. You're not working to save lives. You're not working for Louis Walsh. You're just sitting in an office and you have to do 4 interviews for that. I don't understand what's going on with the job climate. I really don't. I don't know what's going on with the job market in London. People on 28k in London barely have a pot to piss in. And you're making people go through 4 stages. 4 stages. Why is this normalized? Why do I need to go through more than 2, even more than 1, but let's say more than 2 interviews to sit in an office? 4 stages. 4 to live like a flipping Dick Whittington and his cat. I don't know. This is finished. Absolutely finished. I remember there was a time I was trying to apply for an internship and they're asking me for experience. They want experience to get the experience. How does that make any sense whatsoever? Just say you don't want to recruit people and call it a day. But you're asking for impossible things. You might as well ask me to turn into a unicorn if you're going to ask me for experience, for the experience.
Jobs always add into the rules, but never add into the pay. You mean to tell me I gotta learn 35,000 different policies and deal with new policies, and you don't want to give me extra 75 cents? Charlene, please.
The fact that I've been working since I was 15 years old and I don't have the money to show for it has me fucked up. I don't want to work. Why do you do this, Alize? Why?
To everybody that's been working since they were 15, 16, y'all sick of this shit yet, or is it just me? Because I'm about tired of this shit and about over it. Anywho, I got my nails done on Sunday.
When I look at this one and I'm seeing where she's working or they're working since they're 15, immediately I'm thinking, they should be ahead of the game because they have been earning since an early age. So again, guys, remember my 5 steps when it comes to earning an income. These steps for me is very crucial because earning an income is just level 1. You need to have a plan. You need to understand money. You need to educate yourself about money. Definitely, you have to be investing. And level 5, you will find it easier to maneuver this world because now you're setting up multiple streams of income. no matter how small it is. Once you're not physically working for it and you're investing properly, then you should be on your way. So,
I don't know about y'all, but I'm always $200 short on something. Like, I think I'm doing it wrong. Like, what is going on? Like, how do you get the coins these days? My titties look good. I be out here doing everything. Side jobs, front jobs, quick hustles, side hustles, little hustles, big hustles. Still $200 down. The bitch working so many jobs, I don't know what day it is half the time, what time it is, what job I'm supposed to be at. I just know I need the $200. Like, 2024 was like an interesting year. I say like so many motherfucking times. I want to go back to quarantine. Hopefully that's the cough to go back.
Gen Zs are getting fired at alarming rates. My dad just sent me this article which talks about how 6 in 10 employers are already talking about firing the Gen Zs they hired only a couple months ago. I'm a Gen Z myself, so I thought this was really interesting. Especially because in the article, it talks about a lot of the stuff that I talk about here on this platform. According to the article, here's a reason why a lot of the Gen Zs are getting canned. They come unprepared to do the job at hand. Blame whatever you want, but as I've said many times on this platform, just having the degree isn't enough. You can cheat your way through college and come out with no skills. Then when you get on the job, you're going to have a rude awakening. Number 2, genuinely not wanting to do the work. Gen Zs want to arrive late and leave early and do the absolute bare minimum and generally are very low initiative. It is unreasonable to expect a great work-life balance, high-paying job straight out of college. Number 3, being unprofessional and generally having very poor communication skills. How you look, talk, and act matter, no matter what job you're doing. If you're going to work, dress nice. Learn how to speak up, speak confidently, give firm handshakes. By the way, I do think that Gen Z faces unique challenges that a lot of other previous generations haven't. But every generation goes through unique struggles, so it's important for us as Gen Z to recognize them and try and improve upon them. So work hard during college, have realistic expectations when you get out of college, learn how to be professional, and communicate effectively.
I'm kind of irritated because I literally just drove almost an hour to come donate plasma. Spent 2 hours inside the plasma center filling out paperwork and watching videos just for them to prick my finger and be like, my H levels or whatever are too low and I can't give a donation today. Mind you, I was depending on that donation to be able to pay my rent today, so I'm just irritated and lost today, and I'm just over it. I'm over today as a whole. I just want to I want to cry, and I kind of just want to I don't even know. Just cry, I guess. Sleep. Can't even sleep. You ever be so stressed out you can't sleep? I feel like I'm so stressed out I can't sleep properly. I feel like I'm always waking up anxious because it's like whenever I wake up and it's the next day, it just makes me feel more anxious because it's like there's just so much going on. I pray that the universe really changes my financial situation this year because constantly being in this state of either having to work 3 to 4 jobs and never sleep, never get time to myself, barely be able to take care of my well-being but be able to afford bills, or work 1 job or 2 jobs and still struggle on bills and it's like you really can't win either way, and I'm just becoming so fucking numb. I'm really numb, so I don't know. It's a waste of time.
no, guys, this is very clear when it comes to struggling, because this girl is attempting to donate her plasma to pay her rent. Now, I did a little research and I saw where you could get paid $30, $40, some people paying $100, but BioLife pays up to about $800, $900. And I'm thinking to myself, if you have to donate plasma to pay rent, then this is serious. Now, on this end, I'm not judging because I really don't know her situation, but I could tell you, if you could make a video admitting that you're trying to donate plasma to pay your rent, then it is serious, guys. So again, these guys are struggling, and I see it and I know.
Gen Z has a massive problem. We all want to be millionaires, and yet we have a very skewed perception on how easy that actually is. Many Gen Z think that the internet is just a money printing machine, and so they'll fall for schemes like day trading courses, drop shipping, SMMA, Amazon FBA, etc. Many Gen Z distrust the education system as a whole, thinking that it's useless, thinking that college is a scam. And lastly, many Gen Z do not date at all, blaming the other gender for their lack of intimacy. There's no good men out there, everyone is bums, I'm just going to support myself and not date. Or there's no good women out there, women just want to use men for their money and sleep around. We're all incredibly impatient, and despite many of us wanting to be very, very successful, very few people want to put in the work to get there and actually think that working a 9 to 5 somehow makes you a loser. Oh, and by the way, we do have it much worse than previous generations because buying a house is now the most unaffordable it's been in American history, and in general, due to inflation and stagnating wages, it's become incredibly hard to live a upper-class lifestyle.
You know, it's no surprise people don't want to work these days. Because even the ones working are struggling. It seems like the ones who aren't working have the most fun. So why would I want to go to work to struggle? Like, I just don't understand it. Sure, some people have success at their jobs, they love it, maybe that's who they're supposed to be. But, you know, what about the rest of us who just pretty much know we're not meant for the job? What are we supposed to do? Just suffer? Like, I don't get it. Did they ever take into account maybe that I'm, you know, job's not good enough for me? It's not a possibility, huh? We're just all supposed to grow up and want to work for somebody, huh? That's what they trained us in school for.
There have been all these videos about how Gen Z is not good in the workplace and how they're getting fired at alarming rates and how people are trying to hire baby boomers over Gen Zs. It is so crazy because I feel like a few years ago, Gen Z brought up a lot of good points when it comes to working in corporate America. And I am like a millennial or zillennial, so like I'm right at the cusp. But I definitely align more with millennial in the workplace specifically, especially because of the expectations and what I knew the corporate world was going to be like and my exposure to it in college. I've worked alongside Gen Zs who aren't like at the college or corporate level, just like everyday people, and I can fully understand why these people are not hiring them. When I look online and I see most of the people who are talking about how they feel about the fact that companies are not hiring Gen Z, most of them are Gen Z, and the overwhelming reason as to why it's an issue is because there are issues in the workplace or there are issues in these places and people don't want to work with these outdated, ways of doing business. And I feel like that perfectly describes Gen Z in the workplace. This is a group of people who have not entered the workplace or who are just barely entering the workplace. And their reason for acting the way that they act is because it's a flawed system. How do you know it's a flawed system if you have never been in the system? You come into the system assuming it's flawed because it's not easy or it has some sort of difficulty that you don't want to experience. And rather than learning and adjusting and working with the environment which generations before you have learned to do, they didn't just wake up and decide, oh, I'm going to do corporate America this way. They've learned to work with these companies. So if you come into a space thinking, oh, I do this, so they do that. Oh, they said work starts at 9, therefore I can't come in from an 8:30 meeting because I have to go to the gym. Like, good luck. Working is not fair. You get fired, like, you don't get raises. Like, it's not the judicial system, and even that is not. I would challenge y'all to think about these systems from the inside before you start judging them and assuming that they're messed up because they were made from a generation that was not you.
Aren't you tired of working? I'm tired too. I don't want to drop ship. I don't want to do Etsy. Bro, I don't want to do digital program marketing, whatever the fuck that shit is, bro. Like, what's the new sauce? What are we doing? Like, what's the new vibe for 2025? Like, what can we really get into that anybody could do and we can really make some money? Everybody is selling a course. I don't want to pay for a course, bro. Like, lead somebody the right way. What are you over here charging $4.95 for? And I understand, shit doesn't happen overnight. Nothing is a get-rich-quick scheme. Like, I get it, but at the same time, we're tired, bro. I'm tired. I'm making this video because I'm tired. 9 to 5s are cool. It pays the bill. I've been doing it my whole life. But at the same time, I'm trying to go to Dubai, bro. I need an AP, bust out, like, some gotta give. Rent is getting higher. We can't do shit. We can't go nowhere. Just going outside is $200, bro. Even though I don't think this is all the way true, it still feels like everything is oversaturated. Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's pushing the same shit from 2-3 years ago. We already have enough streamers. We already have enough content creators. We already have YouTubers. We already have bloggers. Like, we already got everything. We already got influencers. We already got everything. What I'm gonna go do? Tint windows? Like, bro, what's the new shit? It's social media too. With this phone, I can make $1 million.
In this one, there is no get rich quick scheme. You have to definitely put in the work. Now, I'm hearing where he's saying that everything is saturated. Yes, everything might be saturated based on how you're looking at it. But based on how I am looking at it, it's not saturated because we need more plumbers, we need more HVAC tech. And I know that they are opening in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, guys, is on the boom. You also have robotics. Robotics is on the boom. You could also be an editor. A lot of these content creators need editor to edit their videos and stuff like that. And you could easily well do that while working your 9-to-5 jobs. No, you could also be working with a master electrician and you could learn a lot from this person. So guys, please don't think that everything is saturated. Just have a plan. Now guys, at the end of each and every one of my videos, I try to put together something special for you guys. Something that would add value to you. Or something that you could just simply take away from. So I have to give a shout out to the creator of this video, and it's called Cold Fusion TV. I will also leave a link to the entirety of the video in the description section. So if you want to go and check it out, you could definitely do so. And without further delay, let's jump into it.
I have a business marketing degree, but ended up with 2 retail jobs, one that pays $10 an hour and the other with fewer shifts at $25 an hour. I'm not making enough to get by.
I'm not going to have experiences that most young adults do or did in the past because everything is just too expensive. There's so much unknown.
I sometimes struggle to afford food, despite working full-time and living with a roommate. Making ends meet means pulling money from savings, skipping a meal, or drinking water so that I can try and stay full.
These individuals are from Generation Z, a generation who are coming of age right now. A common reaction to the previous statements are as follows. Every generation has their own issues to deal with during their time, and this new generation just simply needs to work harder. While some could say that that's partially true, it's clear that the numbers are not in favor of Gen Z.
When I first started living on my own, I was paying $280 a week in rent. My landlord wanted to increase my rent now to $450 a week.
I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage, and I cannot afford to live. Where does this go in 5 years when 100 million Americans cannot buy a home and get a fixed rate, and their rent's being raised $200 every year?
6 in 10 Gen Zers feel unable to save for the future. Only 15% of Gen Z expect to be able to afford a home in the next 5 years. And 80% of those who rent worry that rental costs will keep rising beyond their capacity to afford them. 47% of Gen Z report that they or a household member lost a job or took a pay cut due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and this makes them the most affected generation. Around 40% of Gen Z are struggling with mental health, with financial stress being a major factor. So how did a generation that was poised for success end up in such financial distress? Are Gen Z really as lazy as many people claim? Or can we really blame this generation? Just think about it. They had to live through multiple economic crises, geopolitical tensions, a global pandemic, and a new, constant fear of AI threatening to replace them. And how do millennials and boomers play a part in all of this? Is Gen Z truly the poorest generation in modern times? Additionally, in 2022, the typical age for a first home buyer hit a record high, 36. Gen Zers are staying at home longer to save on rent. For example, in the US, young adults living at home have increased 87% over the last 2 decades. And in Australia, it's risen 17% just since 2016. In Sydney, only 0.1% of the properties there are affordable for the average household. For one student in Canada, he found it cheaper to just fly to his classes to avoid higher rent.
I need to pay like $2,500 for the rent. I don't feel that is viable.
In the US, home prices are now rising twice as fast as income. Now it takes about 6 years of income to buy the average house. For boomers, this was 2 to 3 years. Generation X, 3 to 4 years. Millennials, 4 to 5 years. And, as just shown, Gen Z, 6 to 7 years. But Australia is on another level. The average house price in Sydney, $1.6 million. If you're on a single wage, it takes 14 years of income on average to buy a house. Remember, that's 14 years of work if you save 100% of everything you earn. In other words, you'd have to be homeless and eating out of garbage bins to do that. Just astonishing. In the UK, things are bad too. The average house costs 9 times as much as average earnings. In the UK, the last time house prices were this high compared to earnings was almost 150 years ago, back in 1876. If you're 15 to 24 years old, in some places you'd be lucky to have a job. In Spain, the unemployment rate of this age bracket is 28%, Sri Lanka, 27%, Greece, 25%, Italy and Sweden, 23%. In China, things also aren't going great for the young. Thanks to economic uncertainty and a large population in higher education, over 1/3 of degree holders there may be unemployed. How is Gen Z doing today overall? Opinions are divided. On the one hand, Lawrence Kotlikoff, an economics professor at Boston University, agrees that, quote, "This is a tougher climate for sure. Parents need to realize that their kids are in trouble," end quote. Others, like personal finance expert Ken Coleman, believe that Gen Z has an advantage due to technology, which levels the playing field. Quote, "I think this next generation, this Gen Z generation, and the kids coming up behind them, I think we're going to see an entrepreneurial boom like we've never seen in history because of the playing field being leveled by technology, making it so much easier," end quote. While it's true that technology does indeed help even the playing field, will it be enough? And it could be a double-edged sword. For example, AI advancements, however hyped and overblown today, in some areas could provide a real challenge to working humans over the next decade. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so that was the job market. But once Gen Zers get a job, how are they doing? Well, again, there's some interesting stuff going on. So the question must be asked, why is pursuing higher salaries not translating into financial security? One word: inflation. Gen Z has never seen prices rise so rapidly in their lifetime, and they're going through a sense of sticker shock. Some reports even go as far as to say that Gen Z is, quote, psychologically scarred by the effects of inflation. So, the part you've all been waiting for. Are Gen Z lazy, entitled brats? Let's take a look. To set the stage, when it comes to attitudes among workers, employee confidence and morale is generally low across all generations, not just Gen Z. But that being said, out of all the age groups, Gen Z is the most disengaged at work. Only 44% of Gen Zers report job satisfaction, and that's compared to 67% of older workers. Last year, Gen Zers boasted about quiet quitting. This is where they put in just enough work to not get fired. Others talk about bare minimum Monday. This same type of behavior is occurring all across Asia. In China, they call it tangping, or lying flat, and we've covered that on this channel before. A 2022 survey found that Americans aged between 15 and 24 spent 25% less time on, quote, working and work-related activities than those in 2007. This next statistic is very telling. The share of American 12th graders, aged 17 or 18, who see work as a central part of life has dropped sharply. Why is this? Well, Gen Z wants a workplace that has mentorship, genuine connections, flexibility, and a work-life balance. For them, the world has changed, and the traditional office job with a commute just doesn't cut it anymore. The older generations look at Gen Z's attitude with scorn. To them, it appears like a pure lack of work ethic. In fact, 3 in 4 managers consider Gen Z the most difficult age group in the workplace.
Are Gen Z workers lazy, or are they simply changing the work culture?
Lazy. A new survey has found 60% of US bosses have fired their Gen Z workers, complaining that the younger generation want to leave early, start late, and expected to be paid a fortune. Well, our bosses in Australia had the same problem.
We have to take better care of young people's mental health, and also the older people in the workforce need to communicate maybe in newer ways ways and or teach younger people how to communicate in older ways.
Okay, but here's the truth of the whole thing. Most of these companies would lay you off in a heartbeat if it affected their bottom line. And Gen Z knows that. They might even be the first generation to enter the workforce knowing that. I'm not telling you to be lazy on someone else's dime, but a lot of these companies don't give a damn about you, and it's perfectly acceptable to not give a damn back.
But who's actually right? Well, we have to look at both sides of the argument first. According to surveys of managers and employers, Gen Z has a combination of perceived entitlement, short attention spans, and a tendency to critique beliefs held by other generations. And this next one's going to be controversial, but there's a common trope that Gen Z is too soft. According to CNBC, 25% of Gen Z say that they need a therapist just to deal with the stress of filing taxes. So who do you think is right? Who has the valid points? I do think it's interesting to see how age plays a role in one's thinking.
So there you have it, guys. Gen Z for you. A lot of people think they're lazy. A lot of people think they're different. A lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about them. But for me, I'm not judging Gen Z. Maybe it's just the change. Maybe it's just a new culture. Maybe they are looking at things different. And they are definitely not getting along with the older generation. I also see that things and times have changed and increased on them, and it's somewhat not a level playing field. But you have to look at it because what's also on Gen Z side is technology. AI is on their side. So if they just apply themselves, they'll definitely catch up to speed with everything that's happening. But I do understand that things are expensive, inflation is high, the cost of goods and service is just unbelievably high, and it's hard to achieve in this time. So I give and take when it comes to Gen Z. If they apply themselves, they'll get it right. I want to say this. No matter what we think about Gen Zs, they are the future. They are the younger ones. They are the upcoming ones. So at some point in time, we will have to definitely deal with them. So again, guys, that's what I think about Gen Z. But you could definitely drop something in the comment section to let me know what's your take on Gen Z. Do you really think they're the poorest generation? Do you really think that they're lazy? Do you really think that they're just soft and just don't have it? I don't know, guys. You tell me. You tell me what you think. Once again, guys, we've come to the end of another great video. Now, if you found value in this one, please consider subscribe, like, or share. Or better yet, if you know someone that might find value in this video, please go ahead and share. And as usual, you know you can't get all your information from this one video. So please go ahead and click on this one right here. Now you'll have access to the financial market, the financial news, making your first investment, and definitely my journey towards financial freedom. Well, guys, as usual, be safe, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.